All right. Next up, we're going to have Leon Wurfel. He's the founder and CEO of Bueno Analytics, and he's going to present a little bit about his platform and share how he's utilizing AI, and et cetera. Take it away, Leon. Thank you.
Can you guys hear me okay? Good. All right. I'll just correct one thing there. I'm the founder of Bueno, but a couple of years ago we got a real CEO. So currently my job title is just founder.
Okay.
But thank you. I appreciate it. Just give me a sec to get set up. I'm hoping that it brings up the presentation rather than all the Amazon shopping I was doing while I was waiting for my session to pop up. That looks good. All right, so this is my first Controls Con. Thank you, Scott, for having me. I'm really grateful to get to come here and meet all of your family and friends and customers. I'm Leon. I founded Bueno 12 years ago. My background prior to founding Bueno was I was an energy efficiency consultant. So I was an MEP engineer that would go around, sit my butt in a seat in front of the BMS and try and use my eyeballs and domain expertise to figure out how to improve the performance of buildings, energy performance. Starting Bueno, with the premise for that was really around trying to take the domain expertise that could deliver great results across these complex buildings and complex systems in commercial buildings, and codify the domain expertise in software so that it could then be scaled across thousands of buildings, looking continuously, rather than for that 1 day per month that I was going to go and have a look at these buildings myself. So we started in Australia 12 years ago. I recently moved to New York City 18 months ago to try and seriously expand our install base in the United States. We've actually been working in the US since 2019, but we've had some very patient and understanding clients who put up with the time zone difference while we were juggling that. So we've been around for 12 years. We've installed in over 2,500 buildings, $500 million in savings, and the thing that's most important to me is the 2.5 million tons of carbon that we've avoided. So from a purpose perspective, that's what we're all about, is trying to make buildings more efficient, save energy, and save carbon emissions. We're installed across 12 countries. I mean, I'll give you some more credibility points about us as a company. These are our clients. A number of them you would never have heard of because they're outside of the US. But if I pick one from each box that you probably connect with, we've got Hudson Yards. That was the biggest private property development in the history of the United States in New York City. They're a client of ours. On the retail side, I don't have a good US example there right now, but Woolworths is the largest grocery chain in Australia. It's a different Woolworths to the Woolworths in the US. They're both in the retail space, but no common ancestor. That one company is responsible for more than 1% of the country of Australia's energy consumption. That's a pretty useful, interesting tidbit. And then large footprint tenants, I guess Google is probably the result, probably the logo that stands out the most there. We go to market primarily through partners. We're a fault detection and diagnostics software. We've heard about technology-enabled services and those kinds of things. That's the space that we sit. We think that probably 80 to 90% of the market isn't really ready to pick up a fault detection and diagnostics tool themselves. They're not vertically integrated enough. They don't have the capabilities and the domain expertise in-house, or even just the resources. So we think 80% of the market out there needs a service provider, whether that's an SI, MSI, or an MEP, to help them get the most out of fault detection software. Because it's about technology, but it's also about people and process that helps you unlock the value. I won't spend too much time on this. What I'm really here to talk to you guys about today is, I think, a pretty strong theme through this conference, which is AI, sustainability, and cloud. We're a cloud-based FDD platform. And I've mentioned that a big focus of ours is saving energy and carbon emissions, so that ticks the sustainability box. I'm going to demo some AI stuff, but in summary, we take data out of operational technology in buildings, have various different types of rules that run over the top of that, and we find things that are either broken or aren't running as efficiently as they possibly could be. So we'll escalate that up or surface that up to different users of our software, whether that's an operations center or an MEP, like performance specialist, who might want to deep dive into a specific building. But these are our partners. These are our partners that are using this software to then deliver our services solution to their end customers. So I've mentioned that this is going to be the first use of AI in this presentation. I've mentioned that I'm from Australia. But what I haven't brought up is that I'm actually from the future as well. And not just because Australia, what is it? It's like 2 a.m. tomorrow in Australia right now. Not just because it's 2 a.m. tomorrow in Australia. I also think that we're from the future because we have some really cool ways in which we use AI in our software. So our key use cases are all around the labor and expertise barriers. What does that mean? That means efficiency, but it also means lowering the skill barrier that it takes to pick up these tools and use it. Lowering the skill barrier that it takes to actually do something with this information that our tool generates. There's no shortage of information that gets generated out of a fault detection tool. How is it different, AI being applied over our software? So we're not just sitting an LLM over the top of a whole bunch of raw building data. What we do is we take all of our data model. We have trained our LLM tools on our code base. We've trained them on our data model. We've trained them on the historical actions that have been taken on specific buildings and the asset histories. So when we're interacting with LLMs in our software, what that does is it provides it with a much richer source of domain expertise or domain relevant information for it to give you some recommendations on. So we've basically, we run our infrastructure on Google, so we've got a Gemini that we've sandboxed in our environment and exposed it to all these other different data sets. And so we've basically got an FDD specialist Gemini to help you out. Going back to the labor barrier and the expertise barrier being the problems that we're trying to solve for. This may be going into too much detail, right? But there's 4 different ways in which we use AI. Expert systems, which is the traditional heuristic-based FDD rules everyone is very familiar with. We have trained ML models, which are around anomaly detection and identifying changes in patterns of data. We've got a custom language model, which I'll show you, which is all around automating the onboarding of sites. And then the last thing is our LLM that I've been talking about. 3 things to show you. Our reference recommender, our rule query tool, which helps you understand how our software works. And then the third is our insights query tool, which helps you to understand what's going on in your buildings. And this is where I do a live demo and hopefully everything doesn't go wrong. So I'm not going to spend too much time in our core platform. Hopefully my Wi-Fi is working okay. Now, other than to say we have those kinds of typical FDD tools, I'm going to assume that everyone here has come across an FDD tool before, they've used it before. We've got the standard kind of ticketing function where you can track and integrate with the CMMS. And for some people it's valuable, maybe for other people it's a bit early on in the process. We have these kind of monitoring and triage views for your operations centers where you can track issues to different SLAs like P1, P2, P3 issues, etc. And like I was saying, you might have that use case of a performance specialist who wants to deep dive into a specific building. And I'm glad I've preloaded a whole bunch of tabs right now. But anyway, so we can pick a building and then deep dive into all the specific, in terms of information and why you need help with this stuff. What was that? 61 issues at this particular building that we're monitoring. And I think that's pretty typical. There's a lot going wrong in every single building out there in the market. So let's jump into AI. And we'll go to the labs section of our software. And it's going to be big blinking lights that this is in beta, so, use it at your own peril. But first things first, everyone here has labor problems and you're all trying to hire new people and get them up to speed as quickly as possible. Can I get some inspiration from the crowd in terms of, what's a broken thing that you found on a building recently? Sir in the front, who happened to make eye contact with me while I was asking that question. Oh, you're in sales. Okay. I was going to pick the first thing on the list then, right? So this is a this is a chill water valve that's hunting. People know what a hunting chill water valve is. It's opening and shutting and that kind of stuff. But if you're a new graduate and you just started at this job and maybe you're 6 months in, you might not know what chill water valve hunting means. You might be using this software tool in one of your guys' remote services team and go, oh, I got this hit on this chill water valve hunting thing. What does it actually mean? And the idea here is you can ask. So let's ask, how does this all work? And I'm impressed at my level of multitasking, being able to speak and type at the same time. So this is going through and interrogating our source code, and it's providing a description of how this specific rule works. There you go. That's, I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but what I am going to say is that if I'm a brand new engineer and I'm only 6 months into my career and I'm still trying to wrap my head around all this stuff, this might be a bit too technical for me, and I might be busy. So I might want it to explain it to me like I'm a 12th grader. In 200 words, or let's make it more challenging. Let's explain it to me like I'm a 12-year-old in 200 words or less. It's all right. How's that showing up? Can you guys see that? Do I need to zoom in a bit? All right, so that's pretty good. It's using analogies. It's giving you how this rule works so you can understand it, because, like I said before, we're trying to lower the expertise barrier to entry for using software like this. If I'm this 6-month-old baby engineer in my career trying to figure out, I now understand what this rule means. What am I going to do next? This is probably what I'm going to ask. And what do I do? Watch. This is an exercise in the art of prompt writing. What should I do to fix it if this happens at my building? There we go. That's more what I'm after, right? I was sweating, but this is what I'm after. Inspect the chill water valve, review the control settings. It's talking about PID loop, check sensors and actuators. This is kind of like, it's pretty close, It all makes sense. It's pretty sensible. This would be pretty helpful to me if I was straight out of college trying to work in this industry. So I'm going to show 2 more things. I'm going to do it super quick. The next one is, has anyone ever set up fault detection software on buildings before? People have, right? People have. And there's kind of 2 things, at least in our we're kind of in the haystack world. 2 things you got to do. You got to put tags against points. Is this a temperature? Is it a set point? Is it a percentage for a VSD speed or whatever? You got to tag the points so you understand what the data refers to. The second thing, which is actually harder to automate, is you've got to build the reference map of this temperature sensor belongs to this VAB, belongs to this, is fed by this AHU, which is connected to this chiller over here. Building those references is pretty time consuming, No good way to automate it. Well, there is now with LLMs, and so hence we have this reference recommender tool. I'm going to go to a pre-canned thing here, but with LLMs now, they can read images pretty well. So what you can do is you can drop some schematics in this. You could drop even some BMS screenshots in this. And this is going to automatically build all the references that you need when you're onboarding a new building. Saves a hell of a lot of time, and it also, it reduces the risk that someone's going to do something wrong, lowering that expertise barrier. So I'm just going to pick this specific one, East Village, because I know there's some stuff loaded up in here, and I'm going to have a sip of water to buy myself some time while this loads. And you can see that we've got some summary screens. You can also work off schematic style screens. But you can see that it's got some, summary screens of VABs associated with AHUs and that kind of stuff. And out of that, it's going to give you a whole bunch of recommendations that you can choose to accept or, not accept, whatever the opposite of accepting is, in order to get your reference model built for your build. So, it means onboarding buildings in a matter of a week or two, from start to finish. And it can be less if your engineering standards are good enough. So last thing is we've talked about using AI to help speed up onboarding. We've talked about using LLMs to interact with the software itself and with the recommendations of what to do if you get certain results of the software. But there is also the question of how do I interact with the specific insights that are being generated on my specific building, and what do I do about it? This thing might take a little while to load. So I have pre-loaded some other, let's get it started. I'm just going to stop talking and just get this thing started. So this is a sustainability roadmap that we're talking about. Hopefully we're hitting on all three of the things now, right? Like cloud, AI, sustainability, carbon emissions, while I'm waiting for this thing to, the loading wheel to spin, and I'll have a little drink of water. And I'm going to go to the pre-canned one, but this is your roadmap. So I preloaded this one. Actually, that's a different building. All right, we're just going to go with this one that I preloaded. We're going to check if this is loaded. Yeah, no. All right, so this is your neighbours optimization roadmap. Neighbours is the building performance standard in Australia, so you can just swap this out for like a local law 97, do that mental swap in your head. So this is rolling up. Here's your savings potential from triggered focus rules, 15.7%. It's going to prioritize in terms of high impact, low complexity, high impact, low effort, what to do first. And it's going to give you a roll-up of all the affected equipment from each one of these rules, and as well, if I hover, it should bring up a bunch of, the screen share is kind of getting in the way of some of the metadata coming through, but this is like a roadmap. Go do this thing, you're going to save 2%. It's a high impact opportunity. All the way through to, the lower impact, more moderately difficult opportunities. A good way to surface up and, condense all of these incredible amounts of data that's being generated, even by, let alone the buildings and all the temperature and all the sensors in them, but also the fault detection software that's sitting over the top of it. There's also ways that you can do custom queries and, maybe do a comfort assessment, check any of the specific issues that might be driving discomfort or indoor environment quality compromises in your building, and give people advice on what to do. It's really kind of the opportunities are endless here in terms of what are your priorities and what are your goals, and then let's take all this information being generated by a fault detection tool, package it up in a way that you can take action from it that matches what your goals are. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to put this thing up here for a second, because I got a 2 p.m. flight, so I'm going to be jetting out of here pretty fast. But if you want to get in touch, then maybe shoot me an email or find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to take questions, but also don't want to intrude too much into the next session.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, you ready for question? Yeah,
questions?
got time. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Leon. Does anybody have any questions? So I had, go ahead. Yep.
So how does the data from Niagara your package does it all, I guess?
Yeah, good question. So we have a bunch of different integration tools which you can use. If you're using Niagara, we've actually got our own module that you can just install on your supervisor or whatever and pull the data out that way. We also have standalone systems integration tools where you could put like a gateway or a VM-hosted like piece of integration software to get the data out of a Niagara system. There's different options there. You can either do like a software-based connection or a hardware-based connection. And that's the same thing is true for Niagara just as much as it's true for any of the other OEMs out there.
Well, I was actually going to ask the same thing, but expanding. So, how do you guys go to market? Obviously, you're not a representative of Bueno, but how do you approach everyone else?
Yeah. So we 80% of our go-to-market is through partners, and so partners are typically either MEPs who want to do monitoring-based commissioning, or they're systems integrators who want to do more proactive. Deliver more proactive service contracts or value-added service contracts that might step into the energy efficiency realm. And so 80% of our business we're doing with those folks who are then putting a services wrapper around our product to deliver it to their end clients. There are some end users, like end client users of our software, but it's the minority. I think I touched on this before, but it's kind of rare to find property organizations that are vertically integrated enough to pick this kind of tool up and use it themselves.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any questions for Leon? Doesn't look like it. Thank you very much, Leon. Yeah, much appreciated. Thank you very much. Grab a hat.